Hello, my convicts and convict catchers. It is Anic Convict, bringing you guys and gals another video. I am sick. I'm coming down cold. I've just got up this morning with a fully blocked nose. Luckily, I've got some lem sips I've been drinking, so the pain of the sinus has gone away and all that, which is good. Anyway, we're not here to talk about my pain. We're here to talk about, obviously, Call of Duty. As we all know, Vondel is going to be live today about 5 p.m. I'll have to try and download it. That'll take me forever, so I probably won't get a gameplay of it until tomorrow. We have got, obviously, our control freaks on that we got off of Temu, and they're really, really good. I can't tell the difference between these and the official control freaks, so I just feel like maybe these are cheaper purely because of the fact that they don't come in any sort of packaging. They just come in a packet, and that's it. But they are very, very easy to obtain and they're very, very cheap. So I definitely recommend that if you're going to buy them, definitely have a look at buying them from Temu, because like I said, there's no difference. I'm not feeling any difference or anything in them. So let me have a look. Control Freak PS5. Yeah, so you can get them like £3.48. You can get them for £1.47 if you want that cover thing that goes over it. I got it cheaper. But they're all here, £3.48. They're just extremely cheap to get hold of. So if you do want any, and you want all the different types, you can definitely get them on here really, really, really easy. And really, really cheap. So I definitely recommend, you can even do like price low to high. And you can get other versions of getting them as well. Probably not as good as the Control Freak ones, because they're not the proper Control Freak version. But there's lots of different versions you can get on here. Obviously, you want to stick with more like these ones, which are the official Control Freaks, if you can see that. Like the ones I've got here. For £3.48. So instead of paying like 15, 20 odd quid, you can get them for £3.48. It's a steal. Anyway, today's video is not about control freaks, but I kind of wanted to obviously talk a little bit and add that in, because what we're going to do today is we're actually going to talk about another program I've been using quite a lot as of recent when I've been playing games, and I do feel like it does help a lot as well, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. And there's an additional program as well, actually we'll add it in today, that we'll talk about. I'll link them both in the description below, but again, apologize, I'm a little bit nasally, so my voice might sound a bit weird. Plus, I'm going to try and not sniff, and obviously drown your ears with that horrible, nasty sound. So here we go. So go to downloads. Like I said, I'll put these in the description so you don't have to find them. But the first one is called HID USBF. You click on this and click on it again. There'll be some stuff that you'll have to unzip. Now, I've already done this. Do I need to find it again, or can I do it without? Do a look. I think I've already installed it. Possibly. Yep, I have. Yep. So what you basically do is you go and you unzip these two files. Now the one you want is the HID USBF, this one. And then once you've installed it, it'll go underneath here. If you click on this, then go to driver, you'll get these set up here, and you just basically click on the SX60. It's either the SX64 exe or the setup. I think it's the setup.exe. Yeah, it is. So if you click on the setup.exe, not the other one, you'll get this program that comes up here. Change this to all, and this will give you all the devices that you get right at the top here. And basically what this does is it will overclock your PlayStation 5 controller or any controller that you're using. Now, one thing I will say is be very careful doing this, because if you get an error message coming up, then you don't want to be doing it. Also, you need to go into BIOS before you start doing anything, and you need to disable secure boot before you do it. I'm pretty sure you can add secure boot on afterwards, but you're just going to do it before. So you've got to go into your BIOS, got to go in there. There's many different types of BIOS, so I can't really help you find that BIOS. If you go into it and you just search, or just do a quick Google how to disable secure boot, and then just put in the name of the motherboard, which you can easily do by going to your right click on your Windows here and go to search, and then just put system info, and they'll tell you what your motherboard is in there. So you want to find where your wireless device is. Normally, if it's a PlayStation 5 controller, it's normally the wireless one, this one, the USB audio wireless HID compliant controller. You can pull this out and it'll disappear if it's not part of the things. If I unplug, you can see now it's disappeared. If I plug it back in, you'll see it reappear. There you go. So the one in question that I'm doing at the moment is this one. Okay. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to just click on the word install service at the bottom here. Now I've done this before. I don't know why my BL interval has gone higher instead of 1 where it was before. So I'll do it again anyway so you can see it. So you basically, first of all, you click on install service before you do anything. It'll ask obviously to open, so you open. Now if you get an error at this point, then don't do it, because it may cause an issue. I'll tell you how to fix it if you do it. You can try it. I'll tell you how to obviously get it to work again. What basically will happen is if you continue, if you get an error message and it pops up and you continue, it will actually stop recognizing your controller via your PC. Your PC won't recognize the controller anymore, and it won't even light up. It'll just stay blank. It'll just stay completely off. So once you've pressed install service, click on the one that you're wanting. So here, then you want to go to filter on device. You want to go to this. You want to put it to 1,000 or whatever's the highest amount you can get to, and then you want to install service, and then you want to do that. And then what you want to do is, once you've done that, is unplug your controller, replug in your controller, and there you go. Now you'll see when I look at the BL interval here, it's gone to 1. So that's 1 millisecond. So it's gone from where it was about 5-6 milliseconds to 1 millisecond. And that's all you need to do in order to get it to work. And then we can close this. We won't need to do it anymore. So I'm going to close it. You might have to check every so often, because I did do this before. I don't know why it's not taken that and it's stayed. I don't know. Let me go back in and see if it does it again. So if I go this and then all, it should be at 1. Yeah. It's at 1. Which is that one? What is this one? That could be the other one. What it is, for me, I did have... It could be the same thing. I did have my controller set on just the PlayStation. Now I've got DS4 open at the moment, which is another program I wanted to talk about. That could be the reason why it's created a separate one. And obviously I've had to then do that for the other one as well. I don't know. But that's the one that it should be. Because if I unplug that, the wireless controller should disappear. And as you can see, there's no more wireless. So if you're on PlayStation 5 controller, it should come up as a USB audio device. And it says wireless controller. You won't get that pop-up icon getting popped up there. That's because of DS4 here. But yeah, that's what you need to do. Once you've done that, then you can close this down and you're done. That's it. End of. Completed that task. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, the main piece de la resistance I want to talk about is this, is DS4. Let me shrink it down a little bit. I can pull it over. So I'll link this also in the description below. It's very easy and simple to install. You just keep on clicking next. That's all you need to do. There are some things you can install. When it brings up like a pop-up box, if you install everything it asks, and then install everything, go through each one, clicking next, going through each one, clicking next, go through each one, clicking next, go through each one, all it's basically going to do is allow support for games that don't have PC, that don't have controller support. And there's also sort of things on there that will help so that it will work with PC games, basically, that don't have controller support. Once you've done that, you should get this, but you won't get anything in here. You will probably get DualSense coming up if you're connected. Then all you want to do is you want to go to profiles, you want to double click on the default, and then it'll open up and it'll look like this. When you double click that, it'll look like this. I'm not going to click it because I don't want to reset any settings I've already put in. But then once you've done that and you've come here, you've then got a display for your controller. Now, if you want to double check, make sure that that thing that we did before to overclock, it's called overclocking the controller, worked. Go to controller readings and you'll notice I've now got input delay of 0 milliseconds. You can see there, 0 millisecond input delay. That's because I've gone in there and obviously I've basically fixed it all on there by doing that. It's basically sorted it all out for me. So there we go. That's what you need to do. You can also come in here as well if you want to and change stuff in regards to what we're doing with the controller. You can either do it here or you can do it through other and stuff like that. What I would recommend is coming to other as well, and then going to the bottom to the DS4 BT pole rate. Make sure that this is set to the maximum it can go to, which is 1000 hertz, 1 millisecond. And make sure you save. Also make sure that you're on Xbox 360. Now, some people might not like this, especially if you're using like a PlayStation 5 controller. You can change it to PlayStation 4. I do recommend changing it to Xbox. For some weird reason, when I made changes that I'm going to show you today, it didn't seem to affect the controller in any way than what it does if it's on Xbox. I don't know if it's because you're going to restart or anything like that. If you want to test that, by all means, feel free to do so. But I feel like it only works and it only does it when I've actually got it on Xbox for some weird reason. It doesn't do it when you've got it on PS4. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is for me. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to come here now. I'm going to shrink this down, not going to make it too big so you guys can see it. And we're going to go through each one of these and I'll show you what you can do on here. So first of all, I'm going to put the dead zone to 0. I don't know why it keeps going back. I keep on putting it to 0 and then just click save, click on edit, and it'll come back up again. As you can see now, it should be dead zone 0. That should be dead zone 0, which it is. And there we go. So I'm going to go through each one of these and explain a little bit about them. And then if you want to try them out, and we'll actually show you in-game as well a little bit about this as well. So first of all, dead zone, I always put this to 0. I usually do it in-game instead. If I want to change anything, I do it through in-game. Max zone, you want to leave this at 1. You can reduce this. I think what max zone does is basically similar to what you do on the actual game itself, where you have the max input pressure, so the amount of pressure you put on. So if you put this lower, it's going to make it really, really, really twitchy. If you put it to 1, it's going to be standard where it is on Call of Duty. You've got anti-dead zone. This will create a anti-version, so a backwards version. So if you've got a lot of dead zone, or if you've got a controller that seems to still feel like it has dead zone, even though you've turned all the dead zones off, you can actually use anti-dead zone, and it will actually reduce the dead zone on there. But just be careful because it will give you horrible stick drift if you do put this on too high or put it on. Even if I put it on, I think it's 0.20, which is like basically click. It gives me horrendous stick drift and I just start walking everywhere automatically for no reason. So make sure that obviously you don't do that. Also make sure you apply and save, and then just click edit to come back if need be. So that's what anti-dead zone does. Max output. I think max output is basically where you've got the ramping up, where you can start from a smaller to a max. So you can throttle like the speeds and stuff. I've put it to 1. If you lower this, it will actually stop you from moving. Vertical scale. This is your up and down sort of thing. So if you're playing any games where it doesn't really have much options and you wanted to have like a higher up and down from your left to right, you can actually do that here through vertical scale. Mine's currently at 2. Also, make sure to click force for max output. Sensitivity I put to 5. Output curve, I didn't really see any difference, but I would probably only stick with either linear or enhanced. None of the others seem to really do anything unless you really wanted to dive into custom, but I've never touched custom, so I don't know what that does. I don't know how much, you know, you kind of want to mess about with that. So just go to enhanced or precision or linear. Enhanced precision or linear. I've got it on I can't even speak. Enhanced precision. These ones I don't really bother with. I don't really know what these do. Anti-snapback, I'm assuming maybe like if you it'll stop it from like snapping back, like, you know, like if you're in a car and you're turning the camera and you have that anti reset camera thing that it just pulls it back. I think that's what that is. I'm not 100% sure. Fuzz, again, that it says here, some of them do give you like little idea, like this specifies the minimum number of units the analog stick moves in active zone before the output is registered as changed in the actual mapper. This setting can be useful for wad sticks that cannot maintain a constant position. The value is expressed in raw stick units. So basically, if your sticks are well and truly through bad, you can use this to obviously stop the fuzz from that. But I'd just buy a new controller, to be honest, if it's that bad. Bear with me 1 second. Right. Just had to get that out of the way. Right. So once you've done that, you've put enhanced precision. Again, like I said, if you want to touch these, that's up to you. I'd go down to the next one, is the right stick. There is a delta acceleration. I have touched this on the right stick. I haven't touched it on the left. But if you want to obviously look at what I've done here on the bottom one and then kind of do it to the left stick, that's up to you. Make sure obviously to check you're on the right one. LS is left stick. RS is right stick. Controls, you can change this to flight if you want or none. I obviously leave it on one or the other. Radial or axial. Radial, I think, is just like circle. Axial is more like a, I think like a D-pad sort of thing, up, down, left, right sort of thing. Dead zone, obviously 0. Max zone I put to 1. Anti-dead zone I put to 0. Max output again to 1 and force. I'm using the vertical scale for 2. Again, vertical scale is looking up and down. So if you feel like when you're moving around. Now, this is something you can change in game on Call of Duty anyway, but if you're in a game that doesn't have that effect, because basically Call of Duty, you go to settings, you've got horizontal and you've got verticals that you can change different adjacent to each other. So you can have left and right completely different to your up and down. You can have 6 left and right, 4 up and down. And that's basically all the vertical scale does, is it does the up and down one. Sensitivity I put to 90, enhanced precision. Again, I didn't touch these ones, so we'll go past them ones. Now, delta acceleration, I did go into this one and do a little bit of changing on this one. Most of it I left all as default, I believe. I think multiplier might have changed to 4. Just copy these, what I've got here. So 40, 0.20, 0.01. This I did change. It goes up forever. Or does it go? Oh, actually, it doesn't go any higher than 600. So put it to max of 600.00. I would basically click on there like that and put 600.00. Otherwise, you'll be there forever. It takes ages to get there. Min factor, I haven't changed that one. I've left it as it is. Left stick, turned off the dead zones. Max zone, put it to 1. 0 and 0 for anti-dead zone. Max output, 1 and 1. Sensitivity, I changed to 10 on both. I put the curves to linear. I also then put 2-stage mode of hair trigger. Now this does actually do some. If you're using a PS5 controller, it actually enables the haptics on the trigger. But what it basically does it makes the haptics feel like trigger stops. So you'll notice you won't be able to do a full pull. You'll only be able to do a part pull. You'll be able to actually do a full pull, but you'd have to put some pressure in to actually get to a full pull. It feels very weird when you first do it, but when you get used to it, it actually makes them into buttons. Makes it like buttons rather than trigger pulls. And it's really, really good for Call of Duty. So I definitely recommend trying this. I'll show you what I mean when we get into a game in a moment, and I'll show you around in the firing range. Hip fire delay, this was set to 100. I put it to 0 so I can hip fire as fast as possible. Full click as well. I think full click, I'm not 100% sure what full click does, so kind of test it a little bit, see what you feel. I might actually put that back to none, but for the now, I'll leave it as full click. For this, I haven't touched it because I don't know 6-axis acceleration. I think 6-axis is to do with the gyro, but I don't know. I don't know if that is the case or not. I don't know exactly what that does. So I didn't really touch anything here as such. I might have put it as linear, but I didn't touch anything else on there. So once you've done all of them, obviously, like I said, make sure you apply and then save. So it goes here. Also, make sure you've ticked the link profile ID. Make sure you've got this correct selected profile as well. You can create different profiles if you wish to. That's completely up to you. All you basically do is go to profiles, create new, you can rename them and stuff and things like that. Completely up to you. And then you can go into it. Now you can go into the settings on your controller and minimize it so it goes into the bottom right hand corner. When you press your button here, and you go to your tab, you won't be able to see it because I'm in the way. But if I move me out of the way, if I go back, press the tab, you'll see it's actually here. There's an icon for it right here. And you can go into open, you can stop the controller, you can choose different profiles from here. You can minimize or open program folder. You just basically click open, the word open, and then bring it back up. If you obviously get rid of it, it'll go back into where it should go. But you will need to go into the settings and tell it to do that, minimize. Normally when you're first setting up, I think it gives you the options to do that. So just check it when you first get in on there, and then you should be good. Let me just double check. Can I do it? Yeah, just go to settings, and then you can hide DS4, swipe touch to profiles, run at startup. You want to run at startup program. Start minimize, start at taskbar. And that's about it, really. If you full cam it, it will obviously help with you going through it. You can go here to test certain things as well. Lots of things you can check and updates, setup, configuration, X input checker, gamepad test. So you can press like some things and it'll be able to check the controller. You'll be able to check that it's moving, that it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and all that good stuff. I didn't really touch anything else other than obviously these here. I didn't touch any of these ones. And check for updates, I think is already checked on there. And that's it. That's what you need to do on there. So once you've done that, obviously, like I said, just minimize it out of the way. So we go to quick play and then go over to weapons. And I'm going to sneeze in a moment, so bear with me. I think. It's coming. 2 moments. I think it's gone. Right, so there you go. So we're now in firing range. So if we go to the firing range, you can see I can move on here. So if I show you some of the in-game settings on here, I'm using linear, Black Ops, sensitivity per zoom. I put them all to 0.35 apart from high zoom. I put that to 0.50. You put it to whatever you want. That's up to you. But if you want to follow, then yeah, all of them are 0.35. The end one is 0.50. But I wouldn't recommend following me. Just do what you do for your sensitivity that you feel comfortable with. 7/7 is what I've got it as. NDS sensitivity multiplier is 0.60. But obviously I've got it set up the way I have, so it doesn't function through that. All the other stuff are the same here. instant for the transition timing. And then you've got input dead zone. I put it as 2. I've got it as 1 for these. And then 0.01 for these. Again, choose whatever you want. The only key to these really is for dead zone as such. If you are moving on your own and you're not touching it, as you can see, I'm not touching the controller, but you can very slightly see I'm walking forward. Can you see? Then you would want to add a dead zone to stop that. However, what I would recommend is having a little bit of a dead zone. If it's like this. If it was like this, then you don't want that. But if it's just slightly moving, like this, you kind of want that, because if you are slightly moving, you'll actually get the full power of full aim assist that you get. Because in fights, what you should really be doing is moving left to right like this to get the full effect of the aim assist. If you don't, and you just stand still, you don't get full aim assist. You just get part of the aim assist. So you always want to be strafing in fights and moving. So having a little bit of stick drift is kind of good, because you can actually hold it and you'd still be moving. So you'd be getting that kind of assistance from that kind of aim assist without realizing it. And sometimes if you're aiming at something, you might actually get your crosshair pulled just slightly because it picks up that someone's there. Plus it might be really good for rotation and aim assist as well. If you're slightly moving, someone comes upstairs and you start to go whoop, sort of thing, you'll notice there's someone there. So trust your gut instinct on that one sometimes when that happens. But yeah, you only want it to be slightly. You don't want it to be like a lot. It's just doing it slightly. If I look at my feet, if I just move slightly, look, you can see I'm not touching it. If it's just slightly, then it's alright. Basically, I made my left stick as twitchy as possible, so if I wanted to move or run or start to initiate action, I want to do it as quickly as possible, which is why I did it in DS4 for the options that I chose there to make it move as quickly as possible, so you can obviously go to turn and start sprinting as soon as possible, sort of thing. You do want to have a little bit of a dead zone if you're doing it with the right stick. What I've noticed with right stick, if you have this, not right stick, left stick. If you have it where it's like almost like you're going into a jog. I've noticed sometimes it'll stop you from going into full tactical sprint. So just be aware that if you make the left stick extremely twitchy, or you change any of the settings different to be on the left stick, you may find out you won't be able to do this as much and put your gun up and throw your gun in the air, because it only recognizes it once you stop moving, and then you can press it the way that I've got it set up, which I'll show you as well, because that might be important to explain. Trying to think now where that is. So what I've done here, I've put automatic sprint, as you can see, on here. And then there is one for when you're running. There's a running behavior. Got which one it is now. Let me see if we can find it quickly. There we go. So it's in advanced. It's this one. So you want to have sprint and tactical sprint behaviors toggle. Auto move forward as off, obviously. But what I've done single tap to sprint. So what that will do is when I'm running, rather than me having to double tap to tack sprint, I just single tap to tack sprint. But what I can do at beginning is I won't run straight away. I'll kind of jog. But if I press it, I'll instantly start to tack sprint. But after that, I'll just continuously run as well. So you definitely want to change that. So again, go here to movement behaviors. Make sure it's toggle. Auto move is off. Single tap to sprint. I've got ground mantle on because what you can do with ground mantle, if you hold X, it will automatically mantle through windows. Many times I've got stuck in a window and it feels like I've got a really fat, you know what? I just can't get through the window. If you hold X and run to an object, you'll automatically start to mantle. If it's a box, you'll automatically mantle the box. You'll mantle on top of the roof and stuff. Only if you're holding the button. If you let go, obviously it'll stop. But I really like this for those kind of instances where you get chased and you want to try and get through a window, kind of mantle up somewhere, and not have to keep tapping the mantle. You just hold the mantle, just hold the jump button in, and you'll just automatically does it as it touches each object. You'll automatically mantle it. Everything else is off. Plunging I put as movement. I have put auto deploy on for parachute. Reason why I did this is because once you get to a certain distance, as long as it's a flat distance, so make sure you're not going down like a hill. But once your parachute deploys automatically, you can actually instantly cut your parachute and drop from quite a considerable height and land without killing yourself. Again, like I said, make sure you're on a flat thing, not going down a gradient. If you do that, you may find that you auto deploy, you pull your chute, start floating forward as you pull your chute, and you cut it, and then you splat. Make sure that you're on a flat floor. That way, then you know if you pull your chute, you're on the same level to where the auto deploy said yes. And again, make sure if you're gliding over buildings that you don't pull your chute automatically as you're gliding over buildings, because you'll be too high from the floor and you'll just splat. But if you are on a flat floor, you auto parachute, you pull your chute, you will take a bit more damage than what you would if you're a bit closer to the floor. So you could probably just wait half a second after that and then pull the chute and rip it off and then drop to the floor, and you'll take that a little bit of damage. But if you do it from the height, you will take considerably more, about quarter damage from actually doing that. But it's a quicker way getting down and getting on your way, sort of thing. So again, make sure you've got toggle, single tap, and if you want ground and mantle on, then that's up to you on there. But yeah, basically all it does is when you first start, you can see I'm just normally going, as you can see here. If I tap, I start to attack sprint, but then after that, I'll continue to run until I stop, sort of thing. And that's why I've basically done, so that instead of stopping and walking, and then you'll obviously have the attack, and then after that, go back to walking, it just automatically continues to run. What you don't want it to do is continuously run. Let's have a look. Where's controller? Kind of want it like this. Then you press that, and then it's just single tap to do it, but you'll see that you'll continue to run afterwards. You want it to walk, so make sure you change that as well. Auto sprint to off. Then you've got this, and then it's just a single tap again to do it. So you tap to start your run, tap to start your attack sprint, sort of thing. And then you go back to this. The reason why I say probably do this is because it will help when you get to situations. Many times I've run into someone while running, and it's caused an issue where they kill me first because I'm still in my breaking out of sprint animation. Best way of breaking out of sprint animation, especially on this game, is obviously aim walking instead of obviously doing the other thing. And it's just a double tap like that to automatically go into attack sprint, sort of thing. And then if you drop out of it, you'll still continue to run, as you can see. I definitely recommend trying that. So let me talk a bit about these on the top. So if I show you, try and do it as best as I can. You can see I'm not doing a full pull. Can you see it? It won't let me do it, but if I press quite hard, you might hear the noise. That's the haptics kicking in. That sound. So I'm pressing it where the trigger stop is. And now I'm pressing beyond. So that's what that feature does on DS4. So it's giving me like virtual trigger stops. So instead of actually doing a full press, it actually stops me for full pressing unless I actually try and actually physically push through the haptic. You can feel it. It feels really, really weird when you first do it because you keep on full pulling and you can hear the sound. But when you get used to obviously doing it, you'll do it like this. You see? You can't hear that. Sort of thing. And there you go. And it'll help you out a lot. Help you obviously keeping on target and stuff. And like I said, with the extra movement that you're getting with the left stick being where it is on DS4, will give you a chance to obviously be faster, feel a bit more movement, viable movement, and obviously be able to track enemies a bit easier and stuff with all the settings on there. And like I said, even just a little bit of stick drift like that can actually help. So you kind of always want, even if you've got a bit of like aim stick drift as well, you kind of want it to be doing it a little bit because it will help you in a lot of situations where you want to obviously be aiming, but you want the full potential from aim assist. So I would recommend trying, if you can get away with maybe making the right stick slightly stick drift, which mine doesn't have any stick drift at the moment because with me spraying it, you can see. So I don't have no stick drift on the right. There you go. Right, I'm going to leave it here. I know it's a bit long-winded, but I wanted to kind of talk you through each one rather than just doing it as separate videos. I wanted to do it all in one. To kind of talk about DS4. DS4 is a really cool program. Like I said, it works for games as well. I believe it also works for Valorant. So if you want to play Valorant but you don't like using a keyboard and mouse, or like me, struggle with that and you want to use it, I do believe it allows you to do that, but you will have to install all the other programs. You'll get prompts to all the other things once you first open up the actual thing itself. It'll actually give you a pop-up box and it'll ask you to install certain things like Xbox controller drivers and what have you. Go through each one, install each one, accept each one, and go through and click next through each one, install them, and that basically will give you the full features of the entire DS4 that you need. And then you'll be able to then obviously use DS4 on other games as well, such as like I said, like Valorant on here. Can I actually get to that? That's control panel. You can check here. You can actually click on it and then go to properties, and it'll tell you if you've got any issues with stick drift or anything like that. You've got X input checker here, which you can move around. You can see it's showing that it's working. That's connected. Controller driver setup. You can click on that one, and that'll give you this. This is what you need to do. So each one on here, you want to install each one. I have installed them, but because I'm clicking on it again, it's saying that I haven't installed them. I've gone through and I have actually installed each one of these. So you want to install the BIGEM bus driver. You want to do that if you're on Windows 7 for the 360 driver. You want to add the hide driver and then install faker input driver as well. And this, as you can see, what it tells you. So this one, you can configure hide any input controllers from other apps running on your system. Some games require only controller to be present or double tap input will cause problems in the game. This one is driver to expose system-wide virtual relative mouse and absolute mouse. allows keyboard and mouse events to be used in some situations where send input fails. Such inputs are elevated process and games, UFC prompts, and anti-cheat systems that block send input events. Use of the faker is necessary to allow DS4 to work with some games with anti-cheat protection like Valorant. So basically, all it basically does, it gives you the ability to use it. It doesn't give you aim assist, so it's not cheating. It just allows you to use the controller in Valorant without aim assist. So you get no aim assist whatsoever. So don't think you can cheat, you can't. It's just basically going there and it allows you to use a controller with keyboard and mouse games, and like I says, because it's got like an anti-cheat sort of thing that will prevent certain softwares for working. It just basically allows you to use controller. I don't know why they don't make controller support for Valorant. It just doesn't make sense. And maybe just don't add in aim assist. Fine. Some of us can't play keyboard and mouse because it's too much for our hands, much for our fingers, much strain. But there you go. Anyway, I'm going to go this time. Appreciate you all. Salute you. Big shout out, salute to RAF GT Sport and 3v3, my elite convicts. You can also join for just $1.99 and be an elite like RAF and like 3v3 and help to support the channel. It's $1.99. You get access to emotes, badges. You'll also get put in for giveaways and other cool things in the future as well. Hopefully we can do some charity work as well in the future for those who join as members as well. So appreciate to 3v3 and RAF for continuing to support the channel. Thank you very much. Salute to you boys. And yeah, it is Icom Convict signing out as always. I salute you, my convicts, convict cats, and the more salute to you, my beautiful elites. Appreciate you the most. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And thank you. Appreciate you the most. Thank you for joining. Please like the video. That's all it takes to get this video to more people, and so that more people can come and enjoy. Yes, it is long-winded. Don't moan in the comments. I just want to give you the full descriptive of each one and make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. Anyway, thank you very much, and yeah, bye for now.